Yo, what up, people? Welcome back or welcome. I hope that this finds you when it needs to find you. I hope that you hear what you need to hear. And before I get started, I would like to just acknowledge that this is being recorded the day before July 4th and posted 2 days after July 4th. And in light of our celebration of freedoms, I would like to apologize for some of the things that I will be saying within this video because I'll be questioning the state of the world and the cost of our freedoms in today's state of the world. Now, this isn't me apologizing because I don't believe that sentiment is widely accepted. In fact, I feel that it's so widely accepted that it is unacceptable. I feel that we should all feel that this living is a gift. And in light of what I have just said less than 5 seconds ago now, I'm apologizing for the fact that this living is a gift and that I'm sitting here and I'm questioning it, you know? It's not that these questions aren't valid, it's not that my feelings aren't valid, it's not anything of those sorts, but it's just the idea that it's almost like you're going ballistic on a good employer, or you're questioning a slightly verbally abusive parent, you know? Now I'm sitting here and I'm facing Uncle Sam and telling him that the way of life that he has gifted me may not exactly be enough for today's society. So that doesn't mean that I have any less of a gift for the world that I live in, the world that I was born into, and I think it's a true blessing for the fact that I don't have to question for my safety every time that I turn the corner, you know? And a lot of these people that were born into this world don't. And I think that's a gift. I don't hear a loud boom down the street and think that it's something other than a firework, you know? Like tomorrow, or for your case, 2 days ago. So I guess, in light of everything that I just said, today's question is it the state of the times? Is today's reality more to deal with than what people have had to deal with in the past? And are we worse off? And where did all this questioning start, you know? Where did this questioning for our reality, for our living, where did this questioning of our society come from? You know? At what point did we feel that what we feel is so drastic that we need to actually digest it, and that digestion is seriously damaging us, you know? Because I can tell you, we didn't care. We didn't care. Nobody cared at a certain point. Past generations didn't care. It wasn't about how you felt. There were bigger fish to fry. And at that point, maybe the bigger fish to fry was making sure that you had fish and that you even had the ingredients to fry. Maybe it was more about survival. And maybe that was the struggle. Maybe the struggle of that was so difficult, and that we've gotten to a state of time where, this world is so advanced that we have to turn that worry into an internal thing. Maybe that same level of stress has always been upon us, but maybe it's just now inside of us. It's not externally and fighting to make sure that we can get to where we need to get to and we can live the life that we need to live, you know? And I want to point out that this doesn't mean that you feel anything less than what you actually feel. This doesn't mean that you're any less entitled to the feelings that you have, because, as I've stated before, you are entitled to the way that you feel. You are extremely entitled to the way that we feel. But I'm kind of just posing the question of, how do we feel more than past generations, and simultaneously, how do we somehow feel less? How does our stress levels increase so much, but at the same time we are so numb to the world that is around us? What causes those things? Is it social media? Is it the news? Is it the pesticides in our food? What is it? Is it the state of the times? And in relation to the state of the times, I would like to point out some stats that, again, I would like to apologize for the fact that I'm questioning our freedom, but apparently that is extremely accepted, and it's kind of the modern thing to do, which is another reason why I apologize. I don't want to be modern. I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be a part of this world in the same way that everybody believes that I need to be a part of this world just because that's the way that I'm told to be a part of this world. I'm questioning these things because I'm questioning these things. I'm not questioning these things because they are mainstream, and I want you to understand that. And don't do that, just hop on the bandwagon because that's the cool thing to do because you're an outlier. It's not about being an outlier, it's about thinking for yourself, and maybe that makes you an outlier, but that shouldn't be the state of the world. So I guess enough of that, and what I have to say to you, the stats that I have to say to you, is that the cost of living went up by 72%. That includes food, rent, any resources that you need, any amenities, any transportation, anything like that. That's what the cost of living is. The cost of living is living as a whole. It's not just rent, it's not just this, it's not just that, but 72% to just be alive. 72% to just get by. Whereas the federal minimum wage has went up by 0%. Now that is federal. That doesn't mean by state, but I can guarantee you whatever state you live in, it has not increased by 72% to match the cost of living increasing by 72%. If you look at a graph, if you look at a chart that compares the cost of living to the stagnation of what we make and what we earn, then you will see a serious concern. Will find a serious concern, and my morbid curiosity and my personal experience has dragged me to a different question. And I'm very sad to say this, but from the 2000s, from 2000 to 2018, the suicide rate has went up by 35.2% in America. I think that's a big concern. Globally, however, it has went down by 35%. So I think that there's something wrong. Not globally, but maybe within these borders that we call America. Now that's, again, I want to apologize for questioning the system that we live under when it's a gift to live under this system. When it's a gift to have the choice, or the illusion of choice anyways, to feel like we have control over this, you know? When maybe we don't. But aside from that question, aside from the question of the amount of control that we have in today's society, because maybe control is not really what's needed, maybe internal freedom, maybe peace in your spirit is more valuable than whatever freedom we may feel or don't feel that we have. Globally it has improved, but in America it has went down. So I guess my question is it possibly the state of the times, or is it the system that we live under? You know? And before you make this a political thing, this has been going on for so long. This is not over the course of the past 4 years during the Biden era. You know, this is not over the past 6 months of the Trump era. This is between the 2000s to 2018. I can't even get where we're at now. I couldn't find stats for that. I'm sure I didn't dig hard enough, but I got what I needed to see, and maybe that's, you know, the extent of everything. Maybe that's where everybody goes and they just research the bare minimum and they find out the bare minimum, and maybe I did the same thing and maybe I'm guilty of that. My point is that this world is heavy, and it can be heavy. I'm sorry about my hairline, please don't point it out, guys. This world can be heavy, but I just want us to ask ourselves how much of it is self-inflicted. Yes, the technology is advanced, but maybe it's the fact that we don't get off of the technology. Yes, the world is a questionable place, but maybe the people who are born into that lifestyle continue to feed into that lifestyle. I'm not saying that they have a choice, because they don't. That's the only way out that they see. But it's the same way that if you're born into an abusive household, you become an abuser. You know? That's the same reality. Is that maybe a big chunk of this is self-inflicted. Maybe we need to get off of the socials, turn off the news channel, and start focusing on growing our own food or going more organic. I know that that's not easy. I know that the cost of living goes from maybe 72% to 73% instead. But I just want to acknowledge that maybe there's a big chunk of this that is up to us. Maybe there's a big portion of this that we can control. And how much of it is self-inflicted, you know? Some things can't change in today's society, but maybe our actions and our outlook can. And I know that the outlook is a big question. It's a big if that can change because of the world that we live in, because we're forced to feel certain ways because of the reality of the life that we live in. The reality of those things, the reality of our surroundings. It's difficult to just look at the world and say, this is a different place than what I've always known it to be, when it's not a different place, when in fact it's probably worse than it was yesterday. I get that. But maybe a big chunk of this is mental, you know? And I heard from somebody who I'm around on majority of my days, and he said it feels pointless to try and change our mentality, so I just feel like getting by day to day, trying to enjoy day to day. And then he goes on to admit, but maybe that's not the best way to live it. Maybe that is the best way to live it. Maybe that is. Maybe the only thing that we can do is making sure that we include ourselves in a good fucking time. Because although we may not have to fear for our safety every instant, maybe this world will disappear one day. Maybe this gift of life will just be gone. So maybe you need to turn everything off and step outside and sit out here and embarrass yourself and do something that you're passionate about. Maybe you need to get over that hump of being a person and the idea of being a person being oh so scary, you know? I'm not sure if this has been on this whole entire time. It has, thank God, dude. That could have been so bad. Maybe we're just meant to get by. Maybe we're just meant to enjoy the things that we can enjoy and take part in the things that we can enjoy. And as far as that goes, that's all that I've written. However, there's more that I have to say. It's that I struggle in this life to keep up with this, to write my songs, to find new lyrics, to find things that inspire me. I struggle day to day. Every time that I wake up, I don't want to wake up and work out so that I can stay with a healthy body, and I don't want to focus on eating organic because it takes an extra 5 minutes out of my day and all that bullshit. It's tough. It's so tough to just live in today's society, to make the amount that I make and to get by with the things that I have to get by. I get paid a good amount. But does that mean that living is comfortable? No. Although I don't get paid minimum wage, the cost of living has still went up by 72%. Am I getting 72% times minimum wage? Probably not. I'm not going to do the math and sit here right now. But life is tough. Life is tough, but every single day, after everything I fucking went through, I choose to get the fuck up. Maybe I don't get up early. Maybe I don't get up at, 5:45 like I used to set up a schedule for myself to do. You know? Maybe I don't work out every single day. Maybe I don't do this every single day. Maybe I don't do that. But I'm improving, slowly but surely. I'm putting myself out there, slowly but surely. After everything that I fucking went through, I'm still here. I'm still here. And the really sad part is I know people who aren't. I know people who experienced a pressure that's so heavy and it all came together at one time that they just decided that they don't want to be here anymore. And they made that decision. People who I thought would be here to this day. People who I thought would be by my side until the day that I got married and the day that I was fucking laid to rest. I didn't expect to see them laid to rest so fucking early. And that shit hurts. It does. But after all of that, I'm still here. I'm still here. Despite the times, I'm still hopeful. Despite the hopeless nature of the reality that we live in, I'm still trying, constantly. I'm still pushing, constantly. I'm still aiming for more, constantly. The whole idea that if you shoot for the moon, you aim for the stars. Or if you aim for the moon, you land amongst the stars. Sorry. After all this time, I fuck up. Right? My point is that I've lost people. People that are close to me because they found it too difficult. Even I've lost people who found it too difficult to communicate with me, so we're no longer friends. It's fine. At least they're still alive. And at least they have a life ahead of them where they can try. But there's hope to this world, whether you like it or not. And you wouldn't like it, probably, because it gives you the idea that maybe there's more that you can do. And that pressure is massive. I deal with that every day. But yet, there is still something to this life that is worth living. There is still something within this life that is worth trying for. And you need to try for it. You need to. I don't want to find out that anybody who watched this video ends up not on this planet anymore because they made a decision. Because this world made them feel like they need to make a decision. This life is in your hands, and if you don't realize that at this point in your life, then there's a perspective shift that is needed. And I'm not saying that that perspective shift is easy. I'm not saying that the reality of things is easy. I'm not saying that the world that we were born into is easy. But the world that we were born into is a hell of a lot better than the world that some other people were born into. And for that, we have to take it for what it is. For that, we have to take part in this world for what it is, and we have to be a part of this world for what it is. And we can't fucking give up on this life, on everything that surrounds us. Because there's more to life than just struggle. And although it may not feel like that some days, there is. I guess the only advice that I can give you is keep going. There's some people who don't have this gift of life, and that's painful, yes. But you need to keep going, and you deserve to keep going, and no matter what this world has done to you, no matter what this world has said to you, no matter what this world has taught you, the reality of things is that you're still worth it. You're still worth being alive. You're still worth taking these steps going through life. I don't want to hear anything other than the fact that you're doing your best to enjoy your time. Because that's what we deserve and that's what we need, and it's a sad and heavy world that we live in, but maybe there's things that you can do to lift that weight a little bit, you know? Maybe this wind is worth a lot more than we all lead on to believe, you know? Keep going, keep trying. If you lost somebody, maybe you understand what I'm saying to the extent where losing someone shows you how much life is worth living. And if you didn't, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Because nobody should have to experience that, and I'm not trying to throw a pity party out there so you guys listen to me more. I'm sorry if that's exactly what I'm doing, because sometimes I'm a narcissist. I just want you guys to understand that life is a gift. No matter what goes on, no matter what you experience, no matter what you feel, the fact that you can feel it all is still worth it. So thank you guys for listening. And ask yourself, although it may be the state of the world, can I do more? Thank you guys.